Switchcraft is recorded 3 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern and on Saturday at whatever time I can get to it. Tune in live over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by M. Stefano Running. Support Switchcraft and my other content for as little as $1 over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. And we'll save, and let's go ahead and save the project. That's NSC227. Skip ahead. I don't think so, Vaxxer. I think it's going to be about 30 minutes. Let's do the sponsor. Episode 227 of Switchcraft is brought to you by OPSeat. Head on over to runjumpstomp.com/OPSeat to directly support the show and get a fantastic gaming chair that will support you. I'm sitting in one right now, and it's fantastic. Again, that URL is runjumpstomp.com/OPSeat, and you get $10 off your order of a gaming chair. Save. Move forward. Skippity do. All right, here we go. So the first thing that I want to talk about today are 3 games that I've played in the past couple of days, and I just want to describe basically what these games are like. So the first one was actually announced during the Nintendo Indie Spotlight, and that was Bad North. And Bad North is this very interesting real-time strategy game, which immediately put me off guard. I was like, I don't know how it's going to be on a console, because most RTS games, they really need to have a mouse and keyboard. They have so many different buttons that in order to really make a game that's worth playing, that's an RTS, I thought, well, it needed a lot more to it than that. And Bad North I was wrong. It's a really great game. It is this really cool RTS game where you are on an island, and the islands are procedurally generated, the units are procedurally generated, and the enemies are procedurally generated. So every time you play the game, it's going to be different. And your job is to defend the island from waves of enemies that are coming in from the sea on boats. You know, think like Vikings and that kind of thing. And you have to defend the island for a certain number of waves, and after that, you then claim the island. Depending on how many houses are still standing on the island, and it's a very small island, maybe 2 or 3 houses will be on there. But depending on how many houses are still standing, you'll get a certain number of gold, which then you can use to spend on your armies to upgrade them. Death is permanent, so if let's say that you have the green unit or whatever, we'll just call them Bill. All the units have names, or all the commanders of each unit has names, and we'll say that Commander Bill is in charge of the green unit, and that unit gets wiped out. They are gone. All of the money that you invested into that unit is gone, and you lose all of that stuff. So you definitely have to think about, okay, am I going to be able to keep these characters alive? Should I put my points into them, or maybe should I not put some points into this squad and just have them be a bullet sponge? Or, well, there's no bullets, I guess an arrow sponge then. So there's a lot of decisions like that. After you've captured an island, you then pick the next island to go to. You put the turn forward, your fog of war kind of shifts to the right a little bit, and then it shows you your options to the next island that you can go to. You can see ahead where, okay, it looks like this island will have units on it that I can have come into my army, or there's other ones with question marks. I don't remember what those do off the top of my head, but you slowly progress your way from left to right through the map. I guess I'm doing it backwards, from left to right through the map, and if all of your commanders die, then it's game over and you start over at the beginning. Like this is kind of referred to as a roguelite, and it's roguelite in that it's procedurally generated and death is permanent, but most roguelike games tend to have a feature where you carry forward something from your previous save game to the next save game, and that didn't happen for me. So I don't want to really describe this as a roguelite, but what I will describe it as fantastic. It's really, really fun, and you should check it out. That game is Bad North. It just came out. It's if you want to see well, we'll talk about that in a second. I think it's $15 on the eShop, and I think it's well worth the money. I think it's really fun. The next game that I want to discuss, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, is a fun little platformer where you are kind of platforming through an abstract world, and you don't actually have to jump from spot to spot because you're basically just you kind of feather the button, the jump button, which I believe, let me look at my, yeah, you feather the B button to jump up, and you feather the Y button to drop fast or to dive. And you have to avoid coming into contact with any colors. White and black is okay, but colors will do damage to you. And so you have like these narrow corridors that you want to go through, and hitting the buttons to go up and down is actually pretty fun. The controls are really, really tight, and I felt like overall it was a really fun platformer. I can see that the puzzles that you have to go through are very well crafted. I love the sound, the score to it sounds fantastic. It almost sounds like somebody's just sitting there slapping on a bass guitar, and it sounds really, really good. Very ambient, very chill music, kind of juxtaposed against the rush that you have to get from one point of the other, because sometimes there'll be like a wall of color chasing you across the level, and you have to avoid getting touched by that because it'll kill you, or if it catches you, it kills you. And that's Spectrum. It's another one that I played recently. And then the third one that I played recently is a game called HackyZack, which is a very, very clever title. And it's got really cool, what's the word I'm looking for? Not chip art, retro style art. I really like the art style of the game. It's got decent audio as well. And you play a character. There's a male character named Zach and a female character who name starts with an M, but I can't remember what it was. It's not really important what their names are. But you have a ball that you have to kick, and you only kick it to yourself. There's also two-player, but I didn't play that part. But you kick the ball to yourself, and you want to get the ball to like this little yellow area. There's also a sticker somewhere on the level. You want to kick the ball to touch the sticker, then thereby getting you the sticker, and then kick the ball to the target. And this game was incredibly frustrating. This one, I did not like the controls. The way that the game works, first off, the game does not tell you this. So I spent the first, I don't know, 7 or so minutes playing the game very, very confused. You can hit the B button to jump and the Y button to kick the ball, which is cool. You control your character with the left stick. By accident, I found out that you can also use the trigger on the controller in order to jump. And I thought, well, okay, that makes sense. Then I guess the other trigger will probably allow you to kick the ball, and it does not. And nowhere in the directions did it say this. And then finally, you can also direct the ball the way that you want it to go using the right stick. But it's not like you hold the right stick and then hit the kick button. If you just tilt the right stick in whatever direction, it automatically kicks the ball in that direction. Which I thought, okay, now that I finally understand the controls, even though the developer did nothing to explain this to me, now maybe I can figure it out. And I tried playing probably 3 or so levels, and I was incredibly frustrated and absolutely despised it. If you are the kind of person who really liked Celeste, my guess is you will probably enjoy this. But I found the controls to be unintuitive and very, very, and the game is just overall very, very difficult. It's it's too fast paced, and I would have liked it if the ball and the person would fall much slower to allow me to equivocate and figure out exactly what it is that I need to do. Because just getting past just getting the sticker on the second level, I found to be impossible. I couldn't do it. I gave up real quick though. So I can't really recommend HackyZack. But then again, it might be the kind of game that you really like, but for me, it was just too frustrating. If you really like games that are incredibly difficult, like I mentioned Celeste, which is supposed to be really, really hard, then you might really enjoy HackyZack. But for me, it was just a point of frustration. And the fact that they didn't explain the controls to me was incredibly annoying. Like, I was really irritated by that. If any of these three games sounds interesting and you want to know more about it, or you want to watch my first look, I have videos on YouTube for all three of them at youtube.com/runjumpstomp. And you can see what do these games play like in the first 15 minutes or so. So make sure that you check those out. All right, let's move on. There we go. We'll move that over. You almost bought something like this chair at PAX, but you have a wedding. Well, yeah, you got to save it for that wedding. Thinking of picking up an OP seat because you've heard so much about it. I think that they're really, really comfortable chairs. They also have like a lumbar pillow that you can strap to the chair. I took mine off a couple weeks ago, and every once in a while I put it back on. I can't really decide how I want to use it, but I like them. I think they're comfortable. Let's see. All right, I guess I'm just not following the conversation in chat, but that's okay. Sometimes things are just over my head. All right, let's talk about some games that are coming to Switch. All right, it's time to talk about some games that are coming to Switch. We've got a surprise announcement. Thank you to Deadlock for dropping this in the Discord and letting us know about it. And that is Saints Row the Third is coming to Nintendo Switch. This is via Nintendo Life. And it was announced, I believe it was today, at Gamescom 2018. They said that the game has a release window of next year. That's not, I mean, this is an older game, Saints Row the Third. They're already on Saints Row 4, and a lot of people are asking, how come we're getting Saints Row the Third on the Switch and not Saints Row 4? My only guess, knowing absolutely zero about the Saints Row games, is that it has something to do with the ease of the porting process. Like, Saints Row the Third was on older consoles. I believe it was on the PS3 and Xbox 360. I could be wrong about that because I've never played a Saints Row game, but I believe it was on the that generation, and it means that's going to be much easier for Silver. When was it? Silver something. I can't remember the name of the company that makes it. Oh my gosh, where did it go? Deep Silver, there we go. It makes a lot of sense that it would make it easier for Deep Silver to convert this older game to the Nintendo Switch, because they wouldn't have to down-res any textures and stuff. Does this mean that Saints Row 4 is not coming to the Switch? I mean, I think only time will tell. I suppose it depends on how well the third installation sells. I've heard extremely good things about Saints Row, but it just never really appealed to me. I guess it got like an 84 on Metacritic, although I don't look at Metacritic and say, oh man, this got an 84 and this got an 82. Clearly the one with an 84 is better. I don't put much stock into numbers like that. I mostly just listen to other people who've played the games, and most people who have played Saints Row and pretty much any game in the series, they have very good things to say about that. All right, what else is coming to the Nintendo Switch? We've got, this is actually very surprising. Thank you to Wolf Knight for dropping this in the Discord. And this is an app for the Nintendo Switch called Inky Pen, which will allow you to have a subscription. I believe the subscription is $7.99. I can't remember right now off the top of my head, and if I click on the link in the show notes, it says it, but it's a video, and that'll start playing, and that'll be distracting and slow things down, so I'm not going to do that. But I think the subscription is $7.99, and you get like thousands of comics with it. So it's a comics reader, which is kind of cool. I mean, there was a while there where I subscribed to Marvel Ultimate, which allowed me to read a bunch of Marvel comics on my iPad and my iPhone. And I would subscribe to it, and I would use it to read probably 2 or 3 comics, and then I wouldn't go back to it because I've never really been a comics guy. Even though I'm a huge nerd, I love like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I used to watch the X-Men cartoon when I was a kid. I used to watch the Batman cartoon, the Superman cartoon. I like all that stuff, but sitting down and reading a comic has never been something that I felt like it was worth my money. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that love comic books. I mean, some of my best friends are huge comic nerds, and they just never appealed to me. But that being said, if you've got no other device, then this seems like a pretty good deal. I don't know what comics you'll have access to. They showed in the video that you would have access to Transformers comics, which I guess I knew that was a thing, but only like marginally. That's very interesting. I'm not going to subscribe to it. I'm very interested to find out if one of you will be subscribing to it. So if you think the Inky Pen sounds like it's really exciting for you, then let me know. I don't know that I would want to burn my Switch battery down looking at comics when I could do that on my phone or my iPad. But if you don't have any other device, then I guess it makes more sense. Let's see. Other games that are coming to the Switch. Sega is bringing Phantasy Star to the Switch via this thing called Sega Ages, which is their way. It's almost kind of like their virtual console, I guess. Oh shoot, I closed it. Hold on. There we go. So here's what it says. It says this is via Silicon Era, by the way. It says some of Sega Ages version of Phantasy Star's special features have been revealed. To start, accessibility options have been included. You can alter the difficulty to make it a little easier. Also, for people who are considering importing, a hiragana text option that was originally appeared in the Phantasy Star Collection's Sega Saturn version in 1998 is included. There's an FM sound unit music player with 19 tracks. It also comes with some quality of life adjustments that have been made to Phantasy Star as well. If you head into a dungeon, there's an auto mapping option on the right side of the screen. You will see a constantly updated map that helps you, excuse me, through the first-person dungeons. Encountered monsters are added to a codex, letting you go back and learn about your opponents. And also there's a pause menu that brings up an item list that lets you go over abilities, equipment, and items you will find in the game. All right. So I've never played, excuse me, I've never played Phantasy Star. I mean, no, that's not true. 1 second, guys. All right, I'm back. Man, I can't stop coughing. Okay. I mean, I've played Phantasy Star a couple of times just trying it out, but I've never really jumped in deep on it. The reason why I'm excited about this is because I like what Sega is doing here with their old games. Instead of just re-releasing a ROM of the game, they are updating it to, and not in I don't think a huge way, but in a way that makes it more in line with modern gaming standards, like the auto-generating map or the codex. That's fantastic stuff. That way you can look and be like, oh man, those monsters are always kicking my tail. Let me look at it and see if I can figure out what it is that they're weak against. And I know that there's people out there who've probably played Phantasy Star, and they're probably saying, Bill, when I played this when I was a kid, we just figured it out on our own. Yeah, that's great, but we have the internet. People are going to look things up on the internet. Might as well just give it to you in the game. You know what I mean? So I like the idea, the auto-generating map. You can also change the difficulty. And Sega updating their game to run with modern gaming, I guess, niceties in mind. To me, that seems like a developer who is thinking about, why do people want to buy this again? You know, I've talked about emulation before and how it's a sticky situation and it's a legally gray area. And, you know, sometimes it's okay and sometimes it's not. And I know that there's people who agree with me on the emulation and people who disagree with me on that. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. Tell me why I'm so wrong. I love hearing from you guys. But this is the kind of thing where I see Phantasy Star being updated with modern sensibilities, and I say to myself, you know, that's a developer I want to support. I really want to support them in what they're doing, because they're not just taking a ROM and shoving it at me for $8. They're doing a little work to it to make it better and to bring it up to speed. Now, I still think that the ROMs of the original game need to be preserved. They definitely need to be preserved someplace, because at some point, all the physical copies of the game are going to be missing or gone or destroyed or whatever. And all we will have of the original game that came back out in the 80s is going to be the ROMs, the digital files that are in the cloud someplace. It's very important to preserve that. But Phantasy Star for the Nintendo Switch, I think it's going to be something that I'm going to end up picking up because of what Sega's doing to it. I think it's awesome, and I hope that Sega does that to other games like some of my favorite games of all time, like Shining Force. I've purchased that game multiple times, and I will purchase it again if they do these cool updating things to make the game a little more palatable to someone like me who doesn't have as much time to game as I would like. There we go. I'm going to take everything else. Sorry, guys. I'm going to take everything else and throw it in the lightning round, just because we're already at 20 minutes. Okay. All right, all the other news stories today I'm going to tackle in a little bit. I'm going to put them all into the lightning round. But before I do that, I want to answer an email. I got an email from Jeremy in Portland, and they said, good morning, Bill. I've been noticing that the past couple of years, for me, that I've been playing games that in my early and mid-20s used to be my go-to games in gaming, like RPGs, first-person shooters, and certain sports games. Now in my late 30s, I enjoy playing platformers like Celeste and Hollow Knight and Dead Cells. I suppose it's similar to music and movies, and, well, any type of genres or games, that this has happened to you. Thanks again for the high-quality show you do, Jeremy in Portland. Okay, so basically he's losing interest in the genres that he always really liked before. And I feel like that definitely happens. You know, it's tough. I love JRPGs, or 20-year-old Bill loved JRPGs. 30-year-old Bill probably loved JRPGs. Get off my lawn, Bill. He doesn't like them as much these days because they just take too damn long. They just take too damn long. I don't have time to sink into a million hour RPG where I've got to grind in order to get high enough in order to attack the boss. So, like, I just don't have time for that. I mean, yes, I could stop doing a podcast and that would free up ridiculous amounts of time. I could stop making YouTube videos. That would free up lots of time. But my interests over time have moved away from just consuming stuff into doing something else. And as my interests change, the games that I really get into change too. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't play those games, because you know, even though Get Off My Lawn Bill is here, that doesn't mean that somewhere rattling around up here in my brain is not 20 and 30-year-old Bill who still says, hey, you know that JRPG that's coming out? That game's going to be huge and you're going to have hours of fun playing it. You should definitely pick it up. You know? Come on, you know you want to pick it up. Why don't you just pick it up? You could even pre-order it right now and get some crazy bonus that you don't care about. Let's pick it up. Let's go ahead and order it. And then Get Off My Lawn Bill falls for it every time. He says, oh, okay. You know what? I think you're right. I think this is the one that's going to turn me around and I'm going to like it. The best example that I can give you is unrelated to gaming at all. The only thing that I drink is water. Maybe sometimes I'll put a lemon in it. Coffee. Like I smell coffee all the time. Like my wife drinks coffee, my daughter drinks coffee, people I work with drink coffee, and whenever I smell coffee, I'm like, oh man, that smells so good. I think I'm going to try it again, and I think I'll like it this time. And I'll take a sip of the coffee, and I'll be like, that's terrible. How could anybody drink this? This is a disgusting thing that you've given to me. I like you less for letting me have coffee now. And every time the smell tricks me into thinking it'll be awesome and delicious, and then I end up not liking it at all. And yes, if I could add sugar and milk, then it's not coffee. Then it's just sugar water. And if that's going to be the case, then I should just go have a soda. And I quit drinking soda over a year ago, so now it's just water, you know? So anyway, that's kind of how I feel with JRPGs. You know, I always want to try them. I see the video, I look at the mechanics in the game, and I think that, oh man, these mechanics are so intriguing. I want to jump in, and I never enjoy it. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It never holds my attention for long enough for me to finish the game. Like Octopath Traveler, I thought was fantastic. I had a lot of fun playing it. I probably played it for about, I don't know, 15 hours or so. And then I lost interest. I just wasn't having as much fun anymore. I just think that those games are too long. So, Jeremy, I totally get what you're saying. Games, like, your tastes are going to change over time, and that's just something you're going to have to get used to. And hopefully, the old you will not listen to the young you, and you'll not spend money on games that you end up not playing. I hope that makes sense. All right, we're going to wrap this up by just talking about a couple of quick news stories that I want to make sure that people know about. Arena of Valor is coming to the Nintendo Switch in September. That is the MOBA that I played earlier this year, the beta, and I had a lot of fun with it. And it's going to be the only MOBA on the Switch until Smite comes along. You hear me talking to you, High Res? I want Smite, so please get us Smite. That's a great game, and it should be on the Switch. What else? Oh, Nintendo of Europe and had posted on Twitter some videos of King K. Rool fighting Snake in Smash Brothers Ultimate. Then there was also a video on YouTube of Dark Samus and Chrom versus, I can't remember the other two. It's not in the title of the YouTube video, but it's Dark Samus and Chrom gameplay. Also using the stage morph, which is this cool thing that they're doing in Smash Brothers Ultimate, where you pick two stages, and halfway through the fight, one stage just swaps out for the other in the middle of the fight, which is really cool. So if you want to see some more of that, you can find that in the show notes. And finally, I think, yes, this is the last story. This is thank you to Hopple for letting us know about this in the Discord. There is it's in German, it looks like. Super Mario Party has a box that includes 2 Joy-Con, which comes out on, I think, the 23rd of November. It's going to come with a pink and green Joy-Con, which is important because that's the kind of game where you want to make sure that you have enough controllers. So it's kind of going back to the Wii era, where they were bringing out or selling games with extra controllers so that people would have enough controllers. I'm definitely going to be getting Mario Party. I don't know if I'll get the one with the extra controllers just because we have 2 Switches in the house. We just go grab the other controllers and pair them and bring them up. Do we know how much it is the question that's being asked in chat. Rock, I'm looking again, and I don't, it's in German. So I don't know. I just dropped the link into chat, and you guys can let me know if there's a price. I don't see a price there. But anyway, there we go. That's the lightning round. We're all done. Let's wrap things up. I'll tell you what the song was playing at the beginning of the episode, and we will see you on the other side. Save. What song is playing? Balloon Trip. Okay. Let me bring this over here. No, I'll leave it there. Okay. The music that you heard at the beginning of the episode, and you're going to hear again in a little bit, is by Noteblock, and it is what it was kind of the theme song for the podcast for a long time, and that is the Balloon Trip Balloon Fight remix by Noteblock. So make sure that you check out their stuff on YouTube, or you can just go to Patreon, or not Patreon. You can go to runjumpstomp.com/music. Don't forget that if you want the full show, you can either come watch live at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp, or you can watch the videos after the fact over at youtube.com/runjumpstomp. If you are looking to support my content, there's many ways that you can do that. Head on over to runjumpstomp.com/thank-you. All of the links there will help me create more content. And of course, you can also join our Patreon over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. Over there, you get bonus podcasts, multiples a week, actually, as well as other content that is exclusive for patrons, and you can get that for as little as $1. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today. You guys are awesome, and now it's time to thank the live chat, the people who are here while I'm recording the show, and I'm trying to bring up my chat bot so I can see who's here. We've got Vaxer. Let's see, Corona G8. We've got Hyrulean Julian, Josephine, Lawworthy, Princess Jessica, Rock and Roller 1-Up, Skinny Seahorse, Slow Cool Super 80s, Tay Mustin, The Bun Buns, TF Wagner. Let's see, who else? Trev 125, V and K, Virgo Pros, Whoops. You guys are awesome. Big thank you to Nigin X for subscribing earlier, as well as Hopple for their resub. You guys are great. Thanks so much for the help. And Rock and Roller just told us in chat that he cannot find the price for that combo, so we'll have to wait until that is announced. Anyway, I'm out of here. I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye-bye.